Salve Maria! My name is Sister Mary Teresa, and today we will continue the story of St. Margaret Mary Alacoque. In the last program, we stopped at the point when Sister Margaret didn't know if she was going to be accepted or not as a professed nun in the Order of the Visitation. But finally, she was accepted, and she was chosen during the days before the days of preparation for her profession of vows. She was chosen to take care of an ass and a foal in the corner of the garden of the convent. It was a way of mortification, sacrifice, for her to well prepare herself for her profession of vows. She says that during those days, she was accompanied constantly by our Lord. And he, during the time, because the sister said that she could not tie the ass and the foal to a tree, she couldn't. So she had to leave them go and eat the grass and everything, but that they couldn't eat the flowers in the garden. So she had to run after them all day long, and it was very tiring. But our Lord kept company for her all the time, and he revealed to her at that moment, many things about his passion and his death. But she said that it was so mysterious, all that he revealed at that point, that she never even wrote what he told her. And then finally, a few days after, the day of her profession arrived, November 6th, 1672. On that day, our Lord appeared to her and said, "Let me do everything in its time, for now you are the sport of my love. I desire to treat thee as children treat their playthings. Abandon thyself blindly, allowing me to please myself at thy expense. Thou wilt lose nothing thereby." From that day on, he promised never to leave her. She could see him and feel him all day long. And she said that she could even hear him more clearer than she heard other people that were around her, the sisters, the superior. She could hear him even clearer. She would spend most of her time in the chapel, prostrate or on her knees in front of him. And she would only stop when there were other sisters around. St. Margaret says in her autobiography that our Lord sometimes spoke to her as her friend. Other times, he appeared to her as her spouse. And even other times, he spoke to her as her father. And she says that she felt in him two different sanctities. One was love, and the other justice. When he showed to her his justice, she started to feel a very painful kind of purgatory. He asked her to offer it for sinners, and especially for those who are consecrated to him. He even permitted souls from purgatory to appear to her and to follow her. She never hid anything from her superiors, but when they heard all that she had to tell them, they insisted with her that visions and extraordinary ways were not part of the life of a religious of the Visitation. Sister Margaret suffered much with this, but even if she tried to turn aside all her visions, her efforts were all in vain. After turning away from our Lord numerous times, she complained to him and said, "Hast thou brought me to thy holy house to destroy me?" He answered, "Let us continue the conflict, my daughter. We shall see who will be victorious, creator or creature, strength or weakness, the all-powerful or powerlessness. But whoever conquers will remain so forever." She was greatly confused. But he continued saying that he was not at all offended by her efforts to obey her superiors, because for obedience he had given his own life, but he wanted to show the world that nothing could prevent him from carrying out his own designs. "It is my will that you do what your superiors command, and anything that I order you to do, you will only do with your superior's permission." Her superior was so pleased with our Lord's words that she said to Sister Margaret that she should follow our Lord's guidance blindly and abandon herself in his hands. After that, our Lord showed Sister Margaret a cross full of flowers, and said, "This is the bed of my chaste spouses. Little by little, the flowers will fall off, and then you will feel the thorns so keenly that you will need all the strength of my love to bear the pain." Sister Margaret said that she started feeling a great thirst for suffering. And the more she suffered, the more she kindled in her heart 3 desires. The first was to suffer. The second was to love our Lord more and to go to communion, because at that point in history, it was not usual to go to frequent communion. And the third was to die in order to be united to our Lord. Today, we have followed St. Margaret Mary Alacoque in one more step of her life, and we have seen together how our Lord is preparing her soul to receive the great revelation of His Sacred Heart. So, please follow us in the next program, where we will start to unveil the great promises of His divine love. Salve Maria!